a man stops by under a bridge to pee when he notices a necklace on the ground. As he walks further, he finds a woman's purse with an ID of a girl named Sarah. Moments later, the man is shocked to find a dead body lying on the grass. Police officer Byron immediately connects her death to other recent cases of missing girls. One evening, a girl named Tracy leaves her sister's place, clearly not in the right state of mind. She passes by a group of truckers, and one of them suddenly grabs her. Just when things could get worse, a man named Peter knocks the man out and helps Tracy into his truck. Elsewhere, FBI agent Carl tells his partner that their suspect has arrived. The undercover Rebecca gets ready as a man named Calvin enters the room, but as the guy talks a lot, the agents quickly realize that they've got the wrong person. Calvin gets too close and lifts her skirt. Rebecca refuses, so he hits her. Left with no choice, she defends herself and knocks him down. Meanwhile, Peter invites Tracy to his home, saying that his daughter Bethany would be excited to meet her. After seeing photos of the little girl, Tracy agrees to go with him. Officer Byron goes to the station to ask his boss about reopening an old case. He believes the killings are related, but he doesn't get the green light to proceed. At the same time, Carl tells Rebecca that their operation is leaving Florida, and she's no longer part of the team. She insists she still has contact with some possible offenders, and she is determined to meet her biggest target tonight, even without backup. Byron later visits Sarah's home to inform the girl's mother about her death. The mother wants him to promise justice, but Byron can't give her that assurance. He returns home to his wife Susanna and their baby, admitting how much the job is wearing him down. That evening, Carl and Rebecca wait outside a motel, hoping to catch their suspect. When no one arrives, they decide to leave. At that moment, Peter is at home with Bethany and his wife Karen, enjoying dinner. He tells his wife that he needs to fill in for a sick coworker and make a delivery himself. They live in a quiet area with only 2 nearby neighbors. Peter later shows up at the motel, expecting to meet Rebecca. No one answers the door, and just as he's about to leave, a woman from another room invites him in. Peter enters, and they start dancing to music. They kiss, but things quickly turn violent. He grabs her by the neck and starts choking her, calling her awful names. He ends her life, then laughs to himself once it's over. The next day, Peter's daughter Bethany finds a woman struggling to breathe and begging for help. The girl gets scared and runs off without telling anyone. Meanwhile, the woman whom Peter killed last night is discovered inside the motel room. Officer Byron is deeply affected by the scene. FBI agents Rebecca and Carl also arrive. They explain that they were supposed to meet a suspect there the night before. When they try to get more details, the officer on duty brushes them off. That's when Byron introduces himself. He learns that the agents were expecting the suspect at another motel just a few nights ago, and it's the same place where Tracy was last seen. Byron figures they might be able to help each other. Meanwhile, Peter opens a secret spot and takes out a black bag. Inside are the clothes of his past victims. He presses them to his face like he's reliving each moment, clearly disturbed. His daughter walks in and hugs him, unaware of who her father really is. Peter enters a room with a bucket of water and tells Tracy to wash up. She reminds him of his promise to let her go, but he clearly has no plan to keep that promise. When Tracy mentions his daughter, Peter loses it. He tells her never to speak about Bethany again. He sees Bethany as a gift from above who helps make up for all the wrong he's done. Since Carl is now focused on other cases, Rebecca turns to Byron. He tells her about 2 unsolved cases from a few years back. Both were women found near truck stops. Over time, more victims turned up, all killed the same way. Byron had a strong feeling there was a serial killer behind it. The suspected profile is a white man in his mid-30s, likely a truck driver. Byron knows most people don't care about these women's deaths because of their line of work, but he and Rebecca do. They want to stop this killer before more lives are lost. Byron believes that the killer may be after Rebecca, especially since the last victims seem to have been killed in a rush. Rebecca shares that she's been talking to the suspect through an ad, and they've been in contact ever since. They both think Tracy might still be alive. Rebecca goes to visit Tracy's sister Heather. Heather works the streets to pay off debts. Although Heather told her pimp that Tracy was not for sale, things changed, and her sister eventually started working too. One night, her boss Calvin got everyone high for a party. Heather wanted to protect Tracy, so she sent her outside. Later, Rebecca goes to confront the pimp, Calvin, asking why he showed up that night when he wasn't the man she was supposed to meet. He's tight-lipped, so Rebecca pulls a gun to scare the truth out of him. Calvin finally spills that a truck driver was supposed to meet her, adding that he had a lightning bolt tattoo on his arm. Rebecca warns the pimp to leave town in 3 days, or she will kill him. Before Carl leaves, he meets with Rebecca one last time. He tries to convince her to drop the case and even offers help getting her reassigned. Rebecca snaps at him and calls him weak for quitting. That's when Carl finally speaks his mind. He says he's leaving because working with her is dangerous, and one day she'll get him killed. Rebecca reaches out to the suspect again, and he agrees to meet her at a club. Byron worries for her safety, but she doesn't listen, saying that their target will be wearing a plaid shirt and jeans. Byron first enters the crowded bar. There, he notices a man in plaid staring at him. He tells Rebecca, and the man starts to run. Byron chases after him, and when he finally catches the guy, he finds out it's not the killer. The man just panicked because he dropped a suspicious package. Byron realizes he's got the wrong person. Meanwhile, bad weather cuts off communication, and he can't reach Rebecca. Inside the club, Peter sits beside Rebecca and tries to flirt. She notices the tattoo on him, but after taking another sip of her drink, Rebecca starts to feel dizzy. She tries to head for the restroom, but Peter grabs her arm and leads her outside. Her earpiece falls to the floor, cutting off contact with Byron, and when her partner gets back, she's already gone. Rebecca wakes up inside a truck, and when Peter notices her, he puts her back to sleep. Now in full panic, Byron goes home to grab his gun. His wife begs him not to go, but he knows Rebecca's life is on the line. He drives to the store near the motel where Tracy was last seen. He asks the store security to review the footage from the night when the girl went missing. They can hardly recognize the man who took her, but upon looking closely, Byron realizes the truck belongs to a company called Southern Harbor. The next morning, Byron heads straight to the trucking company to ask questions, but the woman in charge tells him he needs a court order. Byron explains that several women have been killed, and the killer might be one of their drivers. Eventually, the woman agrees to help and checks the list of their drivers. Meanwhile, Rebecca wakes up in a room, chained and dressed in a victim's old clothes. Though she was so brave, fear eventually overwhelms her, and she starts crying. Byron learns from his wife that their baby is sick, but he knows he can't stop now. With the help of the manager, Byron finds out that the man who drove the truck that night was Peter. Later, when Peter leaves the house, Rebecca calls out quietly, unsure if anyone else is nearby. When she mentions Heather's name, Tracy finally replies. Rebecca begs her to do everything she can to escape, warning her that Peter plans to kill her tonight. Tracy explains that Peter gives her something every night to knock her out. Even though she's scared, she starts looking for a way out, until she eventually finds a small opening, just big enough to crawl through. While Peter is tucking his little daughter into bed, Tracy squeezes through the hole and begins crawling away. As Peter steps out of the room, Bethany gazes out the window and starts counting stars. Suddenly, she sees movement in the tall grass and calls her father immediately. Peter rushes outside with a flashlight and starts searching. Tracy quietly crawls away, trying not to make a sound. Nearby lives Mrs. Cubber, an elderly woman who lives alone. She's watching TV when she hears a knock. Nervously, she opens the door and finds Tracy, frightened and out of breath. Before Mrs. Cubber can call the police, Peter shows up. He knocks on the door, saying he found her dog outside. Tracy hides in panic while Peter acts calm and asks to come inside. Mrs. Cubber senses something isn't right, but still lets him in. Meanwhile, Byron reaches Peter's house, and the killer's wife says he stepped out to check on a neighbor. Byron lets himself in and patiently waits for Peter. Meanwhile, Peter searches Mrs. Cubber's place. He sniffs the blanket left on the couch, but before he can look further, Mrs. Cubber asks him to leave. Peter is furious that Tracy escaped. He demands answers from Rebecca, but no matter what he says or does, she doesn't speak. He pulls the chain attached to her neck, trying to choke the agent. When Rebecca falls to the ground, she grabs a screwdriver nearby. Byron heads out again, trying to find her, unaware of what's happening. Peter continues to pull the chain, then injects Rebecca with a substance. But before she passes out, she manages to stab Peter with the screwdriver. Peter falls back, pulling the sack down with him. It causes Rebecca to be lifted off her feet, barely able to breathe, and standing on her toes. When Rebecca finally wakes up, she's in the hospital. Carl is there beside her, telling her that she did a good job catching the despicable man. Tracy is finally rescued, while Byron visits Sarah's mother to tell her that justice has finally been served. Did you like our movie recap? Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. To be updated for new movie recaps, hit the notification bell.